Hello, grade 10 students. We are going to start with part 1 of writing an informal email today. Please prepare your students' books pages 16-17. Our objectives are: identify features of informal emails through skimming 2 emails, analyze the 2 informal emails to answer 5 questions, formulate 4 replies expressing enthusiasm to 4 given situations. Good evening. Would you please inform me about the latest news? Hey, I can't now. Tell you later. Can you take 1 minute, please, to tell me what is the difference between these two? Perfect answer. This one is formal, while the second one is informal. Another question for you. When do we use formal or informal language? Formal language is used when we talk or write to someone we do not know well. Examples: your manager, your principal. Informal language is used to talk, chat, or write to someone you are familiar with. Examples: family or friends. One last question for you. What is the difference between formal and informal language? In other words, what are their features? The formal language is a polite language where we have longer sentences and more sophisticated words. In addition, you can use indirect questions, whereas the informal language is the friendly language where you use shorter sentences and simpler words. You can also use direct questions. Let's start with Activity 1, Students' Book, page 16, Writing section, where we have 2 texts. I would like you please to pause the video, look at the layout of the 2 texts, and decide what are they. Excellent! We have 2 emails. Now, I want you to pause the video one more time, read through the 2 emails, and underline any unknown words. Please come back. Perfect. Thank you for coming back. Could you please tell me, how are those 2 emails related? The second one, which is written by John, as you can see over here, John wrote this email and he signed off, is a response to the first one, which is written by Gary. So, the first email was written to John by Gary, and the second one was written to Gary by John as a response or a reply. We are going to answer some comprehension questions together. Has Gary organized everything about living in the UK? Please pause the video, find your answer, and come back to check it. No, he hasn't, and this is our evidence. Question number 2. What is Gary thinking about bringing with him? He is thinking of bringing his bike, and this is the evidence. Question number 3. How will John help Gary once he moves to Brighton? He will show him around, and this is our evidence. Question number 4. Does John think that Gary should bring his bike? Yes, he does. And this is our evidence. Why? Because Brighton is a bicycle-friendly city, and this is the evidence too. Students' Book, page 16, Exercise A. Read the two emails again and find 1. Features that make these two emails informal. 2. Set phrases used to begin and end these two emails. Pause the video, answer the questions, and come back for discussion. Activity 1, Students Book, page 16, Exercise A. We are going to share the answers of the first part, features that make the two emails informal. 1. The friendly and informal tone which shows the relationship between John and Gary in the two emails. 2. Use of informal greetings. Will you please share your examples with me? Excellent. We had hello John and hi Gary. 3. Use of short forms. Your examples? Let's check. How's, I'm, don't, and so on. The writer used the short forms instead of using the full verb forms. How is, I am, do not. 4. Use of exclamations to show their feelings. Let's see examples. Guess what? Keep me posted. 5. Informal expressions. Examples. Anyway, see you soon. The last one, the signature ending, where John and Gary use their first names to sign off their informal emails. Part 2 of Exercise A, the set phrases used to begin and end the two emails. We are going to start with the set phrases for the opening paragraph. Guess what? From email 1. I've been meaning to get back to you from email 2. And now, set phrases for the closing paragraph. We have examples from both emails. Thanks for your help. I'm really excited about. Keep me posted. Let's answer our 1-minute question before moving on. How's everything, my dear friend? What do we call the above underlined feature of informal language? A. Informal greetings. B. Exclamation. C. Short forms. D. Informal expressions. The answer is short forms. So the writer used how's instead of how is because he is using informal language, so he did not use the full verb form how is. Activity 2, Students Book, page 16, Exercise B. Pause the video, read the emails again, and answer the following 5 questions. I advise you to highlight the keywords in the questions before answering, and come back for discussion. So we are going to share the answers of Exercise B, question number 1. What's the relationship between Gary and John? They are friends. Question number 2. Why is Gary writing to John? So this question is mainly asking about the purpose of the email, which is usually mentioned in the introduction of the email. The answer is to tell him that he was accepted by the University of Brighton and to ask him some questions about life in Brighton. Let's check the evidence in the introduction. Perfect. So the purpose of the email is usually found in the introduction. Question number 3. Does John answer all his questions? Yes, he does. Question number 4. Does he give him extra information? Yes, he does. Example about cycling in winter and about day and night buses. Let's check the evidence together. Perfect. Question 5, Exercise B. In which email are the following functions expressed? Write 1 or 2. A. Which email is giving information? Is it 1 or 2? Email 2. where John gave Gary information about life in Brighton in paragraphs 2 and 3. Which email is expressing an opinion? Is it 1 or 2? Email 2. And this is the evidence. Perfect. C. Which email is asking for an opinion? Is it email 1 or 2? Email 1. As you can see, Gary is asking John to share his opinion. D. Which email is expressing enthusiasm? Is it 1 or 2? Email 2. And this is the evidence. E. Which email is asking for information? Is it email 1 or email 2? Email 1, where Gary wants to know different things about life in Brighton. F. Which email is giving news? Email 1, where Gary is sharing his news with John. So, in conclusion, we can say that email 1, which is written by Gary, is asking for an opinion and for information. And email 2, which is a reply by John, is expressing an opinion and giving information to Gary about Brighton. Guess what? I've recently joined a new school. It seems great. How exciting! I'm sure you will have an amazing academic year. What do you think these sentences express? Take 1 minute to think about the answer. As you can see, Sam is giving or sharing his latest news with his friend Mark. In return, Mark is expressing enthusiasm or excitement about Sam's news. In order to know more about giving news and expressing enthusiasm, please open your student's book, page 16, exercise D, where you have a set of phrases or expressions used to share or give news informally, such as, guess what I've recently. Did I tell you about? Let me fill you in. We use these phrases or expressions when we are sharing or giving news informally. On the other hand, to reply to any given news when using the informal language, we use these expressions or phrases which express enthusiasm or excitement, such as, "Whoa, that's great or fantastic news! How exciting or wonderful!" So remember, if you are sharing or giving news informally, choose from these expressions. And when you reply to share the news, make sure to include these phrases or expressions to show your excitement. Activity 3, Students' Book, page 16, exercise D. Read the expressions or phrases below and the situations 1 to 4. How would you reply? So, as you can see in exercise D, we have 4 situations giving or sharing news and using expressions from this box. In order to reply, we need to use expressions or phrases from the box expressing enthusiasm. I would like you to pause the video, read the situations, highlight keywords, and come back for discussion. Let's check the first one together as a guide for you. I haven't told you the latest, have I? As you can see, a phrase was used from the box giving news. In order to reply, I'm going to choose one of the phrases from the box expressing enthusiasm. Whoa, that's great news! This is my choice, and I added, but I think you should be very careful when writing it. Remember, you can choose any other phrase from the box expressing enthusiasm to answer the exercise. This is our last activity for today. Use the expressions give news and expressing enthusiasm. Students book page 16, exercise D as following. 1. Sam gives news to Mark. 2. Mark replies to Sam's news expressing enthusiasm. Pause the video, write your answers, and come back for discussion. These are the suggested answers. Sam is giving news. Did I tell you about my remote learning lessons? Let me fill you in. I learned a lot of new and useful things. Mark replies, I am pleased to hear that about you. It is really life-changing.